What's up? What's up? What's up? Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Well, we're here, and today is one of those days. Today is, guys gonna probably get this episode probably in April, but today is March 15th. Today is the day that I have to file corporate tax returns. I have to get the last file out. I have to get all the clients processed. I have to make sure that they file extensions and stuff like that. So today is a pretty hectic day. I wasn't even dressed. I dressed real comfortable and relaxed today, and just, some of those days when, you got to pull an all-nighter, I pull some long hours. So I dressed down, and then I was like, oh, gosh, I can't wear this shirt on the podcast. So then I just threw on this jacket. So that's why you see this jacket again, because I wore it once before. But it's actually one of my favorite jackets, so I like it. Click like, click share. Tell a friend, come on, get in here. Like, I don't really mean get in here, but just tune in and let's get interesting. We got a new guest here today, and hopefully he brings the noise and shake the volume and turn over the tables. But I want you guys to click like, click share, follow, tell a friend. Guys, I'm all over the place. I'm antsy, my brain is racing, and I like you guys to see that. And the reason for today is why my brain is antsy and all over the place is just because I have so much to do. I feel like so much weight is on me, and it's hard. And I have team, and some of it they take off of me, but at the end of the day, I still got to work. And when you're a boss, you still have to put forth your efforts. You have to still chime in, and you have to still contribute. You have to still go above and beyond. And I still empty out the trash cans. I still clean up. I got my phone. I normally turn it on Do Not Disturb. But today, I just don't know, I may get one of those calls. So I want you guys to see that with business. I want you guys to realize that business isn't like, oh, I drive the fancy cars and I'm a boss and I have the title. That's just never the case, especially with me, rather. I didn't get that fairy tale story. I'm doing business consulting. I talked to one of my friends today and motivated them to start their business. And they're like, Don, I want you. Not like that. It was like, Don, I want you to help me achieve my goal and desires. You guys, I can go on and on and on. And I promise one of these podcasts is going to just be me talking to you guys. But without further ado, we have a special guest. I don't know his name. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Because I wanted it to be a surprise to myself. And I tell you guys, we give you the truth. And I want to make sure that you understand that I'm not faking you guys. You guys get the real me. When I'm down, when I'm looking and having those bills and invoices and stuff I have to pay, and I have to meet employees, but I have to have a talk with my management team because I have to still hold that responsibility to make sure it gets done, and I think that other people should hold this responsibility. But without further ado, we'll get to that another day. What's your name, and tell yourself and tell everybody about yourself.
All right. My name is Dakari Augustus. I'm the CEO and founder of the Hickies Fragrance, LLC.
Okay, you should stop there. You got to give me a sale pitch. Give me a 30-cent elevator pitch.
Well, it's a perfume that I've developed, produced, and created specifically to uplift the minority woman and representation in the fragrance and beauty industry.
So you didn't bring some for me?
I'm gonna bring some. I'm gonna make sure I bring some.
Y'all. That's rule number one.
You always bring some for the
Keep
guests.
something in your purse. Something on your right hand in your wallet.
For sure.
Keep your driver license, your debit card. You keep something in hand.
Sure.
You're never supposed to be going home without it.
For sure, man. I've been ripping and running. That's just pretty much what I've as a entrepreneur, what I've created. But I am self-employed. I do business consulting and government contracting. So I've been pretty tied up and busy with a lot of proposals and things like that. So just trying to basically work through all this, help other clients, and then like I'm on the way here handling business deals. And so I just simply forgot when I left the house. But I got it for you guys. I'm going to send you guys some bottles. All right, guys. So y'all know that's something. And like I tell you guys, it's uncut. So I'm going to let it be known that you always, when you are a brand, you walk your brand. If I think maybe what you say, perfume is a target for the women. So maybe not. But you always have something ready to go to give. Absolutely.
If you have an actual product, look at like a lot of the Chinese restaurants are... That's inside the malls, and I always tell people, I'm tired, guys. Long day. Long day. And I still have more hours to go. So like I tell the people, no, that's not what I meant to say. Like I tell everyone, look at how they're doing the Chinese restaurants does in the mall. They put someone out to give you samples.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can walk past and may not buy it, but they're going to give you a sample to see if you like it, to want you to stop.
Yeah.
So that's something we want to make sure we do from here on.
For
Now,
sure,
she always
for
keeps you
sure.
some samples. Please send me mine because I'm going to be looking for it.
Absolutely. I got you guys.
So being a serial entrepreneur, tell me something. How do you handle it? How do you juggle it? Do you have help, employees?
It's tough right now. It's just me. I do have some help that I use in terms of just like independent contractors that I'll send stuff out to, depending on their expertise. But it is tough. The pandemic did force my hand to step out into full-time entrepreneurship. I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Inside the pandemic, I did get my master's in entrepreneurship. So it is something that I'm very serious about. So I decided to put my livelihood on it and just pretty much go and get a degree that would center and focus on what entrepreneurship is. Beyond just starting and having an LLC, like what else is there beyond that?
So what you want to give that you've learned that you want to share with everyone?
Absolutely. There's so much. I think
give a tip as the iceberg.
I think solving a problem. If you can develop solving a problem, that's where your that's where your millions of dollars is. So when you look at a Shark Tank, it's all about solving a problem or creating something the world hasn't seen.
Huh? So y'all got to understand what he's saying is that when you get ready to create a product or you get ready to do something, provide a service, your business needs to be built on a solution to something that people are struggling with. And it's like inventing something. Yeah, so you like inventing if this mug was just a mug without a handle, but why if it's hot?
Right.
So come on with the handle.
Exactly.
Invent something of that nature.
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing. So are you owned by your business? Are you on bloopers? But you own your business by yourself, or you with someone else?
Just me by myself.
So you eat what you care. So do you make good money doing all that?
Yeah, government contracting, man. It's trillions of dollars in government contracting.
So you're a trillionaire?
I'm not a trillionaire yet, but it does take time. But there's a lot of money, and they have a lot of money set aside for small minority businesses, small business and minority businesses. So it's really an area that I would encourage all businesses to look into. And of course, you can reach out to me. And I pretty much teach, train, coach, consult people through that process because it is a journey. But people don't realize how much government contracting is actually around you. So real quick example, we went to school and you typically saw the janitor every day. Well, that janitor wasn't employed by the school. That janitor was employed by some type of minority company or just whatever company, janitorial company that had a contract. They had a local or state contract. That local state contract, inside of it, they gave you the locations that they needed your team to be at. So every person, let's say we saw Mr. Williams every day. Mr. Williams wasn't working for the school. He was working at the school. He was working for a small business.
So the thing about this is that we have the Georgia Minority Certification.
Yep, absolutely.
So my company does.
Okay, yeah, all right.
You're saying it, but like, I mean.
So let's take certification. Certification is like having a license, but what it does is it specifically allows you to be able to walk into certain rooms and to be able to say, hey, I can do this work. I can perform this work. And so the money that's set aside for these individuals that have the certification, those are the ones who are going to be qualified, if you will, to do the work. And so from there, you just bid, you network, you build, you rely on your relationships, different things like that. But it's, I have 2 certifications as of now. So I'm just trying to load up on mine. My clients, they typically have quite a few. So that's how I learned about the process of government contracting, certifications, why it's important to have it. If you don't have it, you can still win contracts, but it does give you an edge.
So when the client comes to you, how much is your counseling fees and your fees with the final proposal?
So for every client is different. So I just kind of have a scale. There's a per month fee, and then there's a commission if we win a contract.
And how much is that? So
if we win a contract, you typically going to be like 5 to 10% of the contract. So, and my job is just simply to help you win. So I write the proposal for it. When it comes to the monthly fee, it can be anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500 a month. It depends on how much of a need you need from me.
So you can have 1,000 clients. 10 clients, and that'd be $10,000 a month.
Absolutely. So by that time, you'll definitely need a team because you'll need some eyes and ears in other places. But you can do that. And what happens is it's an extension. I am a part of your company. Typically, most companies, specifically small businesses, don't have a business development consultant or manager that works for them that can oversee that process.
They don't have a what?
A business development manager or consultant or business development coach, whatever you want to call it. They typically don't have that. So I come as an independent contractor, but as an extension of your team. So the same way
I'm taking notes on here, huh?
Same way you would hire somebody, instead of having to hire somebody to do it, you just partner with me, and then I walk with you through that process.
Okay. And how many contracts you apply for a month?
Man, it's there's a lot, because there's so many you can do on the federal, the state, local. It really depends on the time frame that we have. It depends on what the customer really wants to go after. So I could do anywhere from 10 to 15 by myself.
So if I have some people that's really listening to nonprofits, do you help them get grants too as well?
I'm not good with grants yet. That's another side of contracting. So we hear about it, and a lot of times when we're at different events, you have personnel that oversee that, but that's different than government contracting. So I'm not the best when it comes to it, but I hear about it. It's all around me in conversation.
Yes. So what are some tips that you would give people that want to get in your field, or that needs some tips you can give today?
I want to get into business development?
Yes.
I would say become an expert at sales. If you can sell, then you can fit into business development. Essentially, business development is developing relationships, developing businesses, whatever that business has a need for in terms of relationships.
I'm taking notes. This guy giving some good Johns, y'all. I'm taking notes. So if I'm taking notes, y'all need to take notes.
Well, if you can become a good salesman, you can do business development. You become a mouthpiece for a company, for business. Essentially, in a lot of cases, I'll go and sit in the place of the CEO or whatever executive staff that you have to oversee that. I'll go into these meetings to speak on your behalf. That's my job, is to get to know your company, your firm, what you're looking for, speak to it. If you can't make it, pretty much. So
do you make more money now than leaving your job?
Great question. So I'll tell you what happened. So during the pandemic, when I learned about government contracting, I was working for an electrical contractor, right? So that's how I got into it. So he put me out there, and I just went head first into it. So I'm learning everything. I'm at all these different networking events. I'm talking to contracting officers. I'm seeing the $1 billion contracts, all these different things. So when the pandemic happened, of course, he pretty much had to let everybody go. But I already had money still on the table because I had won some contracts. So because of that, everything went on pause. So what we did was I decided to basically, start my own company, and then he became my first client, so I could continue getting the money that I was pretty much promised, or it was my commission. So from there, we built this. We always had a good friendship, but I look at him as a mentor, and so even now we're in the electrical vehicle space, so I'm overseeing that on the government side and commercial side. So that's how I kind of got into it. So I'm making more money now, yes, but he's actually still a client.
That's a good way to make that.
Yeah.
So, and with that, you just turned your lemons into lemonade.
Absolutely.
And the problem is that what people need to understand is just called eat what you kill. You don't kill nothing, you don't eat.
That's exactly
and
what the
he
game
was
is.
hungry, and he saw it like, oh, I'm going outdoors, but I'm going to come in through the back door.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So give some tips. You haven't given the tips.
All right, so I'll say if you're talking about entrepreneurship, the first thing is to research and know your industry. Of course, we talked about solving a problem, but you want to know what you're up against. You want to know what's out. You want to know what customers or an audience, what they really want. There's no point in trying to build something and nobody wants it. So from an entrepreneurship standpoint, I would say do that. My niche is business development, specifically in government contracting. You're not going to find, it's not me bragging, you're just not going to find a lot of people in my position that's going to go to different companies and say, I'm going to help you win your contracts. Typically, you have CEOs that are out trying to win it for their company. So I found a niche. So I'll even say, find a niche. Find a niche. There's always going to be competitors. You're an accountant, so right.
Twice on Sundays.
So you're an accountant. So, but there's going to be a niche that you have that others don't. It could be this podcast, right? From here, people may explore and find out what you do. Businesses may reach out. You just never know. So I would say develop a niche. Develop a niche, whether it's in your sales pitch, whether it's in your customer service skills. You'd be surprised, man. Like, okay,
I don't think it's from this podcast.
Man, you just never. I'm just using an example.
I'm balling up in a knot.
You just never know. Like, people are once you get exposed to certain things, how people find you, man. Somebody may love your podcast, and because of that, they reach out to work with you. Like that's.
I hope y'all do, and I'm welcoming you guys. And it's not just for the monetary; it's for the help. Yeah. I want to help, and the purpose of starting a podcast is to give back.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite quote you live by?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have a favorite quote. I read a lot, but I don't know if I have a favorite quote. If anything,
you can't be a guy with all this stuff going on and how intelligent, and you giving me tips and stuff like that. So
that's a good question, man. I need, you know what? That's gonna be my homework. I need to find a favorite quote because I don't.
I tell people all the time: to whom much is given, much is required.
Much is required, yes, sir. That's a scripture now. So any scripture could work. Let's just start there. Any scripture. Any scripture. My favorite scripture. My favorite scripture, I'm going to say, is the same thing. You know why? Because I think sometimes we don't realize that when the pressure that you have on life, you don't realize that that's it being given to you. So much is required. So instead of beating myself up, instead of being stressed out, no, I've been given this pressure to overcome. So I would say, if anything, that ties into entrepreneurship all day. Because, listen, listen, let me tell you, man, there's a lot of entrepreneurs I look at, a lot of people I look up to. I don't want the homeless story, homeless to glory story, because I don't know if I would have made it. So to those who've become billionaires because, let's use Tyler Perry, became homeless, did all that, and now he is who he is, you deserve what you got, brother. I
think everybody deserves it. I don't think you have to be homeless to become a billionaire to deserve it. I think that everybody, and I don't think that people should look down on someone who didn't have to go through the obstacles that another person went through. I think that you should be able to appreciate anyone that starts entrepreneurship because they're providing jobs.
They are.
They're stimulating the economy.
Yeah.
They're giving back. And I don't think that all praises or all celebrations should only be because this person didn't have the resources you had. But you're still doing your job. You're still opening your business and you're still doing it.
Very much so.
How many employees do you have?
It's just, as of now, it's just me, but I have probably about 4 or 5 independent contractors that I typically use or some pay out pretty much on a month-to-month basis.
Pay out,
man. So I have Dr. Cynthia Williams. She's somebody who kind of walked me through this process. So so pretty much the clients that she helped.
But you seem like you like it.
What, government contractor? I love it. I love government contracting.
That's not me. Excuse my throat, scratching my throat.
I love it, man. It's tough, but I love it. It's this is what I always explain to people. Like, we know there's 4 oceans in the earth, and they say like 70% of the ocean is undiscovered. So everything we know about the ocean is technically only 30% of it. Well, government contracting to me is the 5th ocean, and that's how vast it is. 70% of it is undiscovered. So most people, again, like the janitor, most people don't realize, no, that's a government contract that you one day can have. Okay. The janitor that we saw every day, we just assumed that they worked for the school. They worked at the school. That contractor may have had 12 schools that they had custodial staff at. It's all around you. It's down to the lights, the traffic lights, down to construction on a roadway, down to, man, almost anything you could think of there's a government contract for.
Okay, so that's a lot of things, and they can get the minority, get the part that's set aside for minority businesses. Mm-hmm. So again, tell me, what's your weakness in business?
My weakness in business. One of them is probably taking on too much as a workload. Like, so you got to be efficient. If you don't live by a schedule, then things are gonna slip through the cracks. Okay. So having to balance a schedule is pretty tough. Every week, typically Saturday or Sunday nights, I kind of plan out my week. So I'm looking at what I already have scheduled with certain clients, certain meetings and stuff that I have to do. Mm-hmm. I'm also looking at just different tasks. When it comes to the fragrance itself, I'm pretty much handling everything, like social media, the website I built. I had an app at one point in time.
Don't you think you can go so much further if you...
Oh, yeah, you just got to get the money, or you just got to put the money into it. So, but what happens is government contract takes a lot of my time, and perfume, it's almost like I get to it when I can. So I am getting to a place where I'm going to start delegating some of that. And that was the vision for this year.
Hear that? He wearing multiple hats, but he's about to pass a hat to someone else.
Somebody. I need help somewhere, because it's tough business, and it's I'm also trying to discover like who I'm up against. Like when it comes, like I'm up against Rihanna and Fenty Beauty. I'm up against Chanel. You know, I'm up against.
You still can make your presence known.
You can. So the way I'm looking
but I'm
at,
really serious.
No, absolutely. So I'm looking at like, okay, marketing. What can we do? One thing that I've decided to do, specifically with that brand, was when you go to, let's say you go to Ulta and you go to Sephora. Typically, when you look at the top shelf brands, none of them are black owned.
And you want to replace that?
I want to replace that, or at least make room on the shelf for me.
But you got to knock them down and then go ahead and move on.
That's it. Or you know what I think may happen. Sometimes I may think they may come at me with a check. We'll buy you out, and I may take it and be like, all right, but here go my terms.
Okay.
So it's just, and now you get the negotiating power. So, but you got to make noise. If they want to buy you out, you're making noise. A lot of times either you're stepping on their toes or they see value in. We don't have this as a part of our department. So instead of competing, how about we
join forces?
Pretty much. So I'm looking forward to something like that. I would love to be able to be in that space where I could do that. Again, hire minority people. Mm-hmm. We need the representation. As well as I'm looking at like, okay, how to get young women scholarships, different things like that that I'm focused on. So,
okay, and that's a good thing. So, with this, how many hours a day you work?
Man, how many hours in a day is there? 24.
Somebody told me that.
I'm working.
I haven't seen. This feels like. I think when I work a day, it feels like my days only consist of 6 hours because before you start, it's over with.
I can believe it, especially during this season for y'all.
It's annoying.
I think, man, I could be working anywhere from 9 to 9. Go to the gym, like just you got that space, and I'll go to the gym, come back, and still work on something.
Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Wife?
No.
I was gonna say, how would you balance it all? So. That's the thing. You get to go to the gym. You get to work them 12 hours. Me, I be looking at that gym like, it ain't happening, Captain.
Yeah.
It ain't happening, Captain. And especially for days like this, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I woke up late and I'm still tired.
Yeah.
But it's just like you have to carry the load. So how do you carry the pressure and stress of doing everything yourself?
Man, it's tough, man. One, you know, I'm a man of faith, so I just kind of let God guide me, but you do got to take self-care days. That's one thing. That's a big thing right now. Self-care, whatever. So
who?
Right. I try to
self
implement
what?
I try to implement that. So I use my gym time to kind of like calm down, to kind of come off the pressure. Every few weekends, hit the city with a few friends, just to get out and relax.
You have that balance.
You gotta put it in there somewhere. Even if you gotta schedule it. Man, I'm a moviegoer, so when new movies come out, I like to go.
I used to be a good moviegoer, but now my mind be racing so much, and I'd be like, oh, I just can't watch this.
Right.
Because I'm not focused there.
Yeah.
And I haven't been watching movies and stuff like that because I haven't been focused. So I haven't been focused.
Yeah,
but
man,
I mean, so what's some other good information you want to share? Like, how did you, with the pandemic, you started your business and stuff. How did you make sure that you was not going to go back to looking for a job?
Man, you just never know if the right offer. I'll tell you one thing, man. All right, so right when I made the decision I was coming off of a contract that we were finishing up. I had a friend of mine reach out to me. She actually, you still do government contracting? I was like, yeah. So she reached out to me, and it was a very reputable, large company was looking for what I do. So they connected me to personnel. I did an interview. I did 2 interviews. He called me one day. We spoke. He basically prepped me for the real interview, which was the next day. Now, I had never had it happen where they prep you for it. So did the second interview. The next day, they offered me the job. The job was 6 figures.
Contractor or?
Nah, W-2.
And you didn't take it?
Let me tell you what happened.
Baby, he got some stories.
I did take it. And this was the bit more money than I ever seen. I was like, to do this? And then it was commission on top of that. Now, this was just to work for them. This didn't take away from what I was still going to do with government contracting. So I was still going to try to get all this money. But
get money, get money.
I was trying to get it all. But
get money.
It fell through though because they needed some more time as it relates to the pandemic. So we're gonna try to get all this money. I don't think the offer is necessarily off the table, but it's been a minute since I even talked to him.
You ain't got time for that.
I literally was like, yo, I want the money, and I would have taken it because it literally went from, I mean, my salary technically would have doubled. Commission would have tripled it. So
that's a good thing.
Yeah, it was a nice check, man.
So in that case, you should have but you was like, nah, I ain't got time for that.
I was making the time. I was clearing everything out. When y'all need me to start, I am ready. And they was trying to rush paperwork and stuff because they have something with their system and they needed everything to be in before a certain date. So I went home, I did everything they needed. And they came back and kind of said like, all right, well, we're going to need a little bit more time. By that time, I had to make a decision to become an entrepreneur, self-employed, because things were changing with the job. That contract was ending, so I was just like, yo, I need some money. So I decided what I did was within those next 2 weeks, I put together some business proposals. I had my LLC. I did all that already. What I did was I sent it out to people that were already interested with me in the past. People that already asked me, like, do you do this for other companies? And so I went to them first. And most of them became some of my first clients over time.
Book a business. Work the book of business.
You got to
work
pivot.
It. You hear me?
Pivot.
Work it. Work it.
You gotta pivot.
So you got to use what you got to get where you have to be.
That's another thing I'll tip you guys with. Pivot.
You're not gonna.
You gotta pivot. You always gotta pivot. You gotta pivot because sometimes we're waiting on money.
Break down pivot for some folks. Some folks may not know what pivot means.
Pivot. So if you're into sports, basketball, when
I don't dribble no balls.
All right, so you got pivot. Pivot means that at any point in time I can go any direction, right? So with the pandemic, everybody had to transition in the pandemic. We went from everybody driving into work to now everybody has a possible remote, position. You know what I'm saying? So, or you're teleworking. Everybody has, and before that, teleworking, even though some jobs had it, it wasn't like a global thing. Now it's like, it's hard for people to hire people because it's like, are you offering telework? Cause everybody don't want to drive. They don't want to get in the traffic no more. They want to have to go in the office and do what they're doing at the house. So companies got to pivot because now it's just like, okay, we can go on a hiring spree, but people are going to want to telework. What do we have to do in order to provide telework experience? So that means software, hardware, basically having operations for teleworking experience. Mm-hmm. So companies got to pivot. People got to pivot. If your job had let you go and you were in a career of some sort, you might have went back to that, or you might have had to go find another career in something because those bills got to get paid
all day long.
So
every first, second, and third.
But listen, the mortgage is coming. Mortgage is coming.
Baby, the mortgage is like.
Mortgage is coming. So
I'd be like, damn, didn't I just see you?
Man, everybody has to pivot. You could have a business idea and find out that somebody has already trademarked it. So it's just like, okay, well, I can't do that. What can I do? So you got to pivot. I think pivoting has been the biggest lesson in the pandemic for everybody, whether you wanted to or you had to.
Yeah, that is true.
And also, yeah, pivoting. That's a tip. I know I had to.
That's a good thing. I'm glad that you survived, and I'm glad that you did real good. And thank you for coming out. Tell everybody how they can reach you.
Absolutely. So if it's on government contracting, you can reach me via my Instagram, which is www.instagram.com/Mr. Make Your Mark. So mr.makeyourmark. For Hickies is same thing, www.instagram.com/I love Hickies. If you're interested in buying a bottle or lingerie, because we do lingerie as well, then he
got a little Starship shop.
Man, it's not exactly that, but I needed to compete against Victoria's Secret. So
Vicky isn't a secret.
She
they say Victoria's Secret is owned by a man.
Listen, Victoria's Secret is owned by a man. So is another one, but it is. It was started by a man, and then he sold it to another man. And since what we've known it as has always been owned by a man, that's why I've stuck with Hickies. That's the reason why. Because at some point in time, that mantle has to be passed. I'm just trying to get into that industry, this industry that does a couple $100 billion. I just need a piece.
You just need a piece.
I just need a piece. I can change the world with the little piece that I can get in there.
You said a piece, just a little bit.
Man, just a little bit.
Just give me some.
I ain't got to be no competitor.
You have to be a competitor. We are competitors.
We are competitors. But listen,
we knocking doors down.
Don't look at me as no threat. Just let me get a little piece of the pie. A little piece of the pie, and I'm good. But it is owned by a man. It's always been owned by a man.
So what's some of the things that happened in your career at your business that you had to overcome, if you don't mind sharing?
No, that's a good question. Well, obviously,
All my questions are good.
the pandemic was definitely one because nobody saw it coming. I'll be honest with you, taking more L's than W's because you lose contracts. If I'm bidding, I'll tell you right now, I can't tell you what the contract is. Right now, I got a contract going against Microsoft and Honeywell. We know who Microsoft is, and if you're not familiar with Honeywell, they're
That's
in
the secure alarm system.
Right. They're in a couple of things: aeronautical space, engineering, IT, just all this stuff. So both of them have government contracts. But I'll take you to a site right now, and you can see the contracts that they have. That's public information. The federal contracts that they have. So you can see that they make billions of dollars. They're going against me and my client, and we're a small business. So the possibility of winning, we got a great chance of winning, but I also got a great chance of losing.
Well, you have a chance of everything. Of every day, you have a chance of losing and winning every day. So you want to just make sure you stick on a positive side and bring in that positive energy.
Absolutely. So but to your question, you're taking more L's because there's times where I've submitted stuff for all my clients, even for myself, for my company, and you lose it to somebody else. Typically, it's usually off of numbers. If they have a lower number, which you're not going to know their numbers, the government's probably going to go with them if it's like a lowest bid type of situation. And that's if you know it's the lowest bid. So, and you don't know if you got the lowest bid. You don't want to undercut yourself. You want to put a nice profit on it. Mm-hmm. But so I've taken more, you talking about overcoming, taking more L's, man. Okay, I'll give you another example. You're here in Atlanta. If you go down to Atlantic Station, right, you have the Microsoft Center, right? My client was on that contract. Before they laid a brick, I was in a conversation with the main construction company and Microsoft. We were on all of that. Well, over time, things got a little haywire, a little hazy, whatever. I did my part. But just things fell through the crack. And here it is. That place is up, almost done, and we ain't not part of the project. More L's than W's. So every time I got to drive by there, I got to get pissed. Because that was a project.
Don't get pissed, just get motivated.
Very much so. It turns into motivation, but let me just, for the next 30 seconds, just give me a second. Because every time I look at it, it's just, you look at stuff like that.
You
it's like,
count. 1, 2,
right. That's all you got.
3,
that's it.
4,
that's it,
5.
man. But
that's a wrap.
That's one of those things. So I've definitely taken more L's. Everything's been a learning lesson, but you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose, and you got to appreciate the W's even more. So, and what's for you is for you. So I think, obviously, that probably just wasn't what God had for me or my client. So
yes, you guys hear that? Click like, click, share, follow, share, tell a friend. Guys, I'm out. I got a long way. We have to do this one sharp because today I have to get a lot of work done. But this guy dropped some gems. I took some notes. You guys get to it. Like, also, you got to realize that nothing's going to come to you. You have to go for it. And some doors that close are a blessing for you versus always you thinking like, oh, I really wanted it. Just for example, his job. He wanted the job, but it closed. But now he makes more money. Think about it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.